both cases, when we play without imagination and when we play with imagination, in both those cases we do the movements. But in second case, we do movement with slightly different quality. This quality is in our muscles, not in mind. And I wrote the note about the sound texture. Like, sound texture is like the whisper of your muscles.
Exactly. It guides you. It guides
Yes,
your muscles.
it guides you, and this what I mean by actual relying upon on actual sensation of movement in your hand.
And the thing is, training muscle memory without mental practice will lead to unhealthy tension. So it's almost like the only way to make a correct, healthy technique is, like you said, to let that mental practice to be a whisper, a guide to your muscle memory.
Yes, I stress the importance of this connection with muscle memory, because I catch myself that I can imagine but without my body sensation, and then I feel detached from the piano, I feel detached from my body, I can imagine, and this is wrong. And
also to add here, I'm sorry, that actually that's why I call it a healthy tension, because it's a healthy circle, a healthy cycle here, because not only the mental practice are guiding your muscle memory and muscle sensations, but also you get a feedback from muscle sensations which will enrich your mental imagination. That's why I was saying, for example, why it is so important to move your wrist. Because if you imagine sound texture with sound movement that is reflected in the movement of the wrist, so what's happening? I'm imagining there is an impulse in my mind, energy of sound movement to the right, goes here, my wrist is moving to the right, and that feeds up and give the impulse back to my sound imagination, so I can imagine the next note with sound movement to the right. In another case, if I imagine sound movement, but my wrist does not represent that, my sound imagination stops right there. I cannot continue imagining if I don't get a physical feedback from what I've done. That's a very interesting moment here. I still don't know how it works, but it seems that they are interconnected. Mental practice and physical practice.
Yes, and that's why you suggest to use pedal. This better reflects the sound texture.
Exactly, it will feed up your sound texture imagination, exactly.
And another commentary about this drop in the drop of harmony into the sound texture, into blank sound texture of water. Drop the harmony, changes the chemistry of this liquid. It's like the liquid of other nature. Yes, it changes its color, and I felt this. I felt this very, very fragile sensation. But and one more thing, and this refers also, I think, to future topic. Today's I guess we will talk about the dynamics. We get used to rely upon our talents, to rely upon our intuitions, our musicality. And I don't think this is wrong, but in this system it requires you to build this very complicated set of skills. And sometimes it felt like this is a mechanical or so. In dynamics, you actually suggest that this is well, what I was told when I in the music college, what frequently teachers say about dynamics. This is not loudness. This is an image. They say. This is not a loudness, this is an image that the forte, for example, this is not allowed, but this is like a different image, a different emotional state of being.
It's more like a bigger energy or something like that.
Maybe yes, but so when you suggest this approach, listen to the Mahler symphony on quiet dynamics, then on loudness in loud dynamics. So just raise your volume up or down, and what are you doing here? You don't exploring this image like I was told maybe in my college, but the idea you're exploring this, in my opinion, you're exploring how you perceive these different variations in volume. So not dynamics, but volume.
So here's the thing. Here is the link. When you purposefully imagine the sound in a very great volume, it will be again reflected in your physical sensations right away. When I, for example, look at the score, and you're gonna catch me imagining on the stage when I'm imagining the notes, let's say in fortissimo, you will see that my eyes are going bigger naturally. So that again represents what's going on in my energy. My energy expands and intensifies so much. I'm getting ready for that sound. And as we will explore, I said it in the book many times, even if you were going to talk about how to play forte with correct movements, but if you're not, for example, in a slow tempo, you have to lift your finger. But if you're going to just lift your finger without that intensity of energy in your mind, maybe that image, that's what your teacher were referring to, then the movement of your finger is not going to represent or express, manifest that energy, and so it will bring, it will be still resulted in a harsh tone and unhealthy tension here. You will feel aching pain here because it's not connected. The movement doesn't represent the expended energy in your body. So in a way, this is correct. In a way, dynamics is about the energy, but they kind of cut it. They cut the journey, how it is about the energy, how the dynamics becomes that image. It's because he actually imagining the sound in the right quality of volume, of fortissima, where, like I said, in fortissima, it's like you're standing in front of speakers and your whole body is resonating and vibrating from that sound. If you don't, that's the link between dynamics and image. So when you imagine that, that will activate, give impulses to your body, and your energy will expand, and as a result, when you play it in the right way, you will achieve a powerful tone.
Yes, I see. So yes, this nuclear nuclear approach.
Yeah.
But I may show you how I play the etude with all this harmony without dynamic. Well, I understand this. You like this?
Yeah. I could really feel that your hands were in liquid texture, and then They were in different colors of that liquid texture, which is another nickname for harmony. So harmony we can call, color of the sound, dynamics, volume of the sound, and then our voicing, which is actually distance of the sound. So that's.
I want to say comment one thing about my playing and my sensations. I write to myself there, not to be so talented. Not be so talented. What do I mean by that? I already mentioned today. We get used to express our feelings through intuitive movements of body, intuitive tension.
Compulsive
I
tension,
want to
unfortunately.
compulsive tension. We, for example, I want to play expressively, and you know this. And
Nice face.
and when yes, and when I practice with harmony, I find that my brain, that my face is very calm, and I feel a little bit detached from the musicality.
Cold head. That's a good example.
Yes,
You know what you're doing. It is intelligent. It is not, mind-wandering, empty playing. You know exactly what you do, and you create exactly what you want to create.
Yes, and this perceiving in the way like, I don't know how to say it in English, ломка. После наркотиков я, конечно, не употреблял, но просто я имею в виду, что такое ощущение, что ты к чему-то привык, а потом вот у тебя вот эта ломка.
So you feel uncomfortable experiencing this.
Yes, I feel uncomfortable experiencing this because it is like I need to press the buttons in my brain and let the movement go without going to
Perfect.
to pulling from it.
Perfect. This is one of the stages of the retraining program when you're rewiring your mind and you're healing your psyche as well. Because there's so much pressure. This compulsive tension is so deeply psychological. And this is what usually in the way. We are ourselves in the way of our good playing, unfortunately. And this is very good. This detachment is great. When you almost you're almost observing what you're doing. You're not inside it, trapped, in this tension.
Yes, so it's maybe not so pleasurable, like it was maybe like you was in a disillusionary world, but you may feel like you just press on some buttons in your brain and launch the process, and you observing it how it goes.
And also keep in mind, it's just one of the stages, and right now it's a musical mean of expression number 4 or 5, and when we're gonna have the whole set, which is gonna consist of 15, then especially in the third book. Second book is still gonna be quite technical, but third book we're gonna really talk about the character of music, the phrasing, the distributing energy within the whole piece. We're gonna go big, and self-confidence as well, and all of this will bring you to the state of musicality in traditional way. But it's almost like you don't allow yourself to be as musical right now because it's not the right time yet.
Very good.
But eventually, just to tell you, actually, we never discussed that. It's so important, though. When you acquire the whole system, how does it work in a piece? You will have a piece, and you will know there will be 3 stages: analyzing stage, learning stage, and performance practice stage. And so in that first analyzing stage, you're going to go through all 15 musical means of expression step by step within maximum 7 days. So in a way, you will have to keep that cold head only for maybe 3 days, 3-4 days. From when you start the piece from scratch. And then so the whole maybe 7-10 days it will take for the whole analyzing stage, then learning stage when you start actually practicing piece by small and bigger block, bringing it to the tempo, memorizing it as a good, side effect of that process. That will take maybe another 2 weeks, and then another 2 weeks for practice performance, learning how to stand your ground and actually keep that shield and not be disturbed by the energy of people, and not having a stage fright, but know how to deal with it and how to get the exit way, how to lead the audience. All right, so, and that will take maybe another from 2 weeks up to a month. This is where you actually perform the piece at least 10 times in front of the audience till you really can let go and just become just a medium, a channel for something greater to express on stage, right? Forgetting actually everything you've done before. It's the stage where you forget about the notes. All right, so now, but it's just so you know that really cold head has to be within the first 3-4 days of practice the piece, and then you can actually really enjoy playing the piece for the next month till you finish it. Just a little perspective here. I know now you're on the second month of studying and you're like, I still need to have my, strong, cold, detached, intelligent mind when I practice. But it's not going to be the same when you're going to actually practice a piece. It's all going to pass within a few days.
Thank you
for
sharing this.
Dynamics. Just open it in my book. So, let's talk about how to start. So obviously why we need a good sensation of dynamics to, you tell me, why do we need dynamics? Why do we need to develop that ability to imagine sound texture in different volume?
Pieces of music requires us to play in different dynamics, different volumes, and sometimes we, as a musicians, as performers, we get used to. I know this is a little amateur mistake, but yes, approach the forte with more tense in our muscles, with more power, attack of this sound, or approach the piano with this stiffness in upper body, like you want to play soft, and you accumulate so much tension. Even when I show this, I feel this, and even more, you can even lose the sound. I got this very much. For me, piano very difficult was.
Okay, so in other words, if we just approach dynamics in a mechanical, physical way, it's gonna lead to some problems. First of all, forte will feel harsh, not powerful enough. Also, physically we will feel tension here, banging kind of feeling in the downside of the wrist. Piano will create lots of ghost notes, so we won't be able to control piano and experience lots of tension and pain in our shoulders and back. So to avoid that, we actually need to mentally prepare our body for that energy, to use our body as an expression of that energy, that image that we create by imagining sound texture in different volumes. So imagining dynamics is so important to eliminate unhealthy tension in our body and also create a better control of the tone and touch when we play dynamics. Okay, so how do we start? What do we do? How do we start uploading the volumes of the sound?
Yes, in order to imagine something, you need to have an experience of it, how it was, how it is in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So listen to music, listen to music with the good example is Adagietta, Mahler's Adagietta, because this sound movement and the going from one note to another, a very good methodical material for acquiring these skills. And yes, you listen to this music in very soft volume, then gradually rise it and compare how you perceive the volume. And yes, not be careful not to damage your ears, but just only for the purpose of understanding how your conscious perceives these different volumes, how you experience in this. Only explore these sensations.
So actively listening to dynamics, not passively. Mm-hmm.
Yes, paying attention only to volume of the music.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of quality in each dynamics we're looking for? Obviously, I suggest in the book to find your 6 different levels of dynamics in your mind first, before even approaching the keys. Pianissima, piano, mezzo forte, forte, fortissima. But what are the qualities of those loudest and softest sounds we're looking for? For example, for piano, what is important?
Yes, I remember in your older videos, I don't find this in the book, but I remember in older your videos about the piano dynamics, this good analogy not to shrink the sound and make it small, but imagine like this is a still big sound, but it becomes transparent, like in Photoshop you do this transparency, opacity.
Okay, and why is it important? Because it's a natural, for us would be natural feeling. If we want to imagine something softer, we would kind of shrink it and diminish it in a smaller dot. So what would happen if I do that?
Our physical state, our body will reflect this intention, and we can physically start shrinking.
So that will bring some flat sensation to our muscles. So the same tension we'll experience. Okay.
So that's why we need to stay with big sound, but soft.
Okay. And also, it is very important to not forget adding sound imagination, sound movement. Because again, when sound movement at the end, because again, if we try to imagine soft sound, the tail of the sound movement to the right or to the left might also fade away. So make sure that it's long enough.
So there is a tendency to lose the sound movement in the pianissimo.
Very much, and the same with, by the way, fortissimo, right? So what is important in fortissimo again? To avoid this vertical sound. Again, we imagine something loud. Somehow it makes it harder to keep imagining sound movement. So just make sure it's long enough. Otherwise, again, the approach to the key will be like this. No wrist motion. As a result, this will suffer, and the tone as well. What else is important for imagining forte?
Use the right image of forte, not the sound that is damaging, but sound that like is a rich sound, big sound, sound that fills the room with it, and you have space in this
So
sound.
that's why actually when I suggested to listen to music, when you go to forte, don't do it with earphones anymore. You have to listen forte with good speakers.
Oh,
Because what you want to avoid is uploading the sound that is too loud and too close to you.
mm-hmm.
So when it's too close, it will really again be flat. In a way, almost the same effect as if you try to imagine a pianissimo and it shrinks and becomes smaller. So again, we want to avoid this flatness in imagining anything. So yeah, so you need to, I always suggest my students, imagine that you're floating in the universe that producing that loud sound, and it's all around you, surrounded sound. Right? So it's all around you, and it's very loud. It's loud that you feel it in your bones, but it's not harsh on your ears. Because otherwise, again, it will bring the harsh feeling here in the muscle.
Yes, and forte that don't cause the stress, excessive stress.
Exactly. Yes. Did I? Right. And so the good way, with forte especially, to check if your forte is loud enough, because again, if your forte is not loud enough in your mind, and we're gonna go and play with big movements, and they're not gonna reflect what's going on in your mind, then it will again lead to compulsive unhealthy attention. So how do we check if what our student or what you are imagining in your mind is loud enough?
Try to sing.
Yes, let's do that. I love Boris Godunov.
My neighbors
Advanced
yesterday was doing a very loud I don't know, remont, and today would be my revenge.
All right,
I'm
well now.
joking.
So imagine an interval in sound texture. Triple forte, my goodness, okay, triple forte with sound movement. Okay, so let's do mi, right. So let's say both to the right.
Okay. I'm ready.
Now I will do that.
Oh my God, that was that was louder.
I don't know if zoom that. So when you were singing, it was mezzo forte.
That was louder, and those windy hairs, that was so great image.
Yeah, if that helps you, imagine that big, opera singer with a big belly on stage with a bright makeup, Ivan Susanian, Boris Godunov, any Russian figure. But again, it's just additional. That's not important, that visual thing. The most important, focus on sound imagination. So again, let's go there. Sound texture, triple forte. I want triple forte. What I sometimes say students, imagine forte. They say, okay. And then I say, imagine that this is actually piano on your scale. Now, try again and imagine forte. So there is a big challenge about going beyond what you think you can imagine. You have to almost, stretch it and stretch it and stretch it, like you sometimes stretch your muscles. You think you cannot go further, but you keep stretching. So embrace that and try to stretch your sound imagination in this way.
Yes, allow yourself, just allow to make it bigger.
Bigger, go bigger. You just sang piano, now sing for me forte.
Нет, no,
Yes, don't forget, arm weight is so important.
Yes.
Yes, all 3 steps. Now this is your mezzo piano. Now
Okay.
try forte.
I noticed that in lower pitch, it's difficult to play louder sing louder in louder range.
Yes.
Lower range.
Yes, that's why I was giving an image of like Boris Godunov and Ivan Susanin, because then you sing more from your diaphragm somehow. Yeah, it's easier.
Yes, and the good thing to remember that this is not a scream. We're not screaming. We're not screaming loud.
It's actually what I'm trying to say to avoid this flat sound.
Mm-hmm.
Because flat creates pressure. Yeah. Sound texture. Now, this was exactly the sound that I want you to have in your mind when you see fortissima in the score. That was good. Well done. And you see another thing with sound texture, why did we switch from imagining strings to sound texture? Because again, when we reach dynamics, imagining strings playing forte, nah. You can feel that sound, you can feel that flat kind of tense sound. They just can't. I mean, unless you change that sound of strings to something else, you will not be able to experience that full three-dimensional forte. So sound texture is a great way to escape that, what you said, screaming, tense sound.
Yes, I
All right,
understand.
so that was very good. So another thing to mention, just boring thing about how to interpret the hairpins in the score, right? So can you tell me about this?
Yes, usually we think about like we should play louder, but actually they mean the phrasing, they mean the changing of the
It's a more subtle,
energy.
identification of subtle changes in energy. It's mostly like it is a change of dynamics, going louder or softer within the same dynamic. So you can make those hairpins within mezzo piano. You stay still in mezzo piano, but somehow you expand the energy and creates the illusion of crescendo or diminuendo. So unless the hairpin has before and after a clear indication of changing of dynamics, right? So let's say mezzo piano, hairpin, mezzo forte, hairpin, piano. Then we know it is about dynamics, right? So in other words, when you see hairpins in the score and you need to mention dynamics, you simply ignore them. Otherwise, you will feel very confused, right? And since we're talking also about interpreting dynamics in the score, if you actually see the written crescendo and diminuendo within, let's say, a few rows or a few bars, what do you do?
You try to be precise as much as you can.
You try to eliminate any confusion in your mind. Visually.
Yes, you stamping all the states of this dynamic. So if you go from piano to forte, you do piano, then it will be mezzo piano, then mezzo forte, and you need to be aware of those changes.
And I really suggest my students to write down these changes in the score, because it's amazing how visuals affect our mental imagination, sound imagination.
When I studied alone, I showed my teacher my scores, and she said, "Well, but we should this is good, but we should have this in our ears. We should have this in our ears. Why to write this?" So we get used to do this intuitively, and I don't think this is bad, but in purpose of acquiring new skill, nuclear this approach of awareness, how we do this. This is important.
That's the problem. Many things expected from us to be done intuitively, which is the end result of the process that usually completely skipped. So you first acquire the skill, and then it becomes intuitive, right? Okay, so this is also, why is it also dangerous to actually approach any hairpin with this very vague compulsive tension? Because we do have the limit of our tension, and when we're not in control of where do we expand, where we decrease our energy, when we don't create those breathe in, breathe out kind of inhale, exhale waves in our energy, when we just go with compulsive tension, that we just become like a bubble, and at some point what happens with the bubble, it bursts. And this is where we either completely run out of our energy on stage, or we burned out, and we burnt out in our mind, in our emotion, in our hands, and usually it happens in the most important, maybe climax part, and then you were like, I didn't get it, I just didn't get it, I need more, but what if you can't? So that's the problem with compulsive tension.
So this is a strategy and economy.
Again, cold mind, yes. Yeah, exactly. It's not about stamina, it's about sanity. Otherwise you will just start spreading saliva and sweat around because you just don't know how to get more energy out of yourself. There's always a limit, so we need to stay within the frame. That's why I say, it's funny enough, you can't play expressive because you don't know how to play not expressive.
Wow, this good quote.
You can't play forte because you don't know how to play piano. Or you can't play piano enough because you don't know how to play forte. You see? You need that distance. You need to explore that distance in your energy. Not much energy, more energy. If you just stay on the same level and then just adding and adding up, and that's your idea of how to play musically expressive, then it's a very dangerous road.
Yes, please keep this in the result video, these words, because this is very, very important.
No, I will.
I mean, this, you just, thank you.
Yeah, that's very good. That's so much to wrap your mind about. Okay, so we talk about dynamics, talk about hairpins, crescendo, blah, blah, blah. Let's go to playing piano. So what is important to remember in playing piano?
When we play piano, we need to be aware of that we still intonating with weight while playing.
This is correct. So what happens if you're not using full amount of weight when you play piano?
It causes the problems, like ghost notes, like tension.
Good.
And
you cannot control your touch, basically.
Yes,
well
you lose the control.
So, let's try to play piano.
Okay.
For playing piano, we don't need any additional knowledge about movements. So it's just as easy as imagining your softest, let's say pianissima.
Oh, I forgot to say about sound texture, because yes, but yes, we have already talked about this, but we should imagine in sound texture, in this liquid texture, the piano, this whisper of muscles. Okay, I'm playing the two notes in the right, to the right. The first of all, we need to make only the movement, just to feel how we do.
So you create the structure. Okay, so it's gonna be a roll connection. Good. So now imagine
Okay.
piano, transfer weight and play. And it will take some time. It's not. So what we were covering right now, that yes, sound imagination helps to control sound better in different dynamics. Unfortunately, there is a time that will be required to get the skill of that impulse reflecting over here on your fingertip. So it's not a full. It's not full guarantee that as soon as you imagine you play and it will always be great 100%. No, you will probably start at about 20% connection, but the more you practice, the more permanent this connection and stronger connection will become. So usually it takes a few weeks actually to develop a very subtle and very sensitive sensation on your fingertips that would reflect exactly what you imagine here, especially if we're talking about piano, obviously. With forte it's easier, it's just a technique, but with piano, yeah. So expect to feel some sort of frustration in the first weeks, but keep practicing those dynamics playing exercises, and yeah, you'll get there.
I wanted to say that I have the perfect image of the piano. I have the sensation, but when I start play, and that was the case when I practiced the harmony, the sound was so beautiful, but without the effort, that I stopped. It like I experienced the fear, like how am I doing this, and I prevent myself from going further. So for me now, the part of the work is to allow myself to watch myself how I do this without additional effort with my musicality.
All the process of rewiring your mind.
And I invented the formula. First time may be wrong. So to allow yourself not to be afraid that the outcome would be not so great as you
Exactly,
imagine.
and this is very important to have a map of your journey, and that's why I also mentioned about those few weeks that it's called adjustment week, I would say, when your fingertips, physical sensations start gradually adjusting, responding in a more clear and accurate way to your sound imagination. All right. So it is important with these exercises to develop, like I said, 6 different levels of dynamics, from pianissimo to fortissimo. Let's talk about now how to play forte. It becomes a little bit more complicated, but what are important things to remember?
All right. To play forte, we need to do special movements with our fingers. I will turn off the volume and show how I do this on the keyboard. So
How do we call those movements?
we double swings and rolls. Rolls we already met them, and double swings too. But why we do these movements? Well, we need to, for example, we have the roll from one note to next note in the similar direction. When we play forte, in slow tempo, we need to raise our finger. And when we need to raise it, when our second roll is on the top, and then we raise our straight finger, not the curved one, because when we do this we have tension in our wrist, and when we do straight finger, and only in the top, not before, not after, but when in the top, and then we play in the bottom.
Okay, very good. One correction here. I know I've written that way in the book, but that's been written 2 years ago, so that's why updates are very important. So what I found is that just lifting the finger might cause tension, thinking that you're lifting your fingers. Instead, what is a better way to approach it is thinking that you're opening your hand. So don't forget to press the pedal. So if you're just gonna lift your finger as you've showed, that creates tension here, definitely. So what we want is instead, on the top of the next roll, we want to just open our hand. Just open, like a peacock opening the tail. And again, all of this has to be done with correct sound imagination, because if you imagine sound not loud enough, and you do that, again, that creates tension here versus loud. That's different. Do first without imagination. So first roll, when you go to the second roll, you open. I would say you start opening at maybe 3 o'clock, and then by the time you reach 12, it's fully open. It will feel unnatural and uncomfortable unless you contented is the word. Can we use it as a verb? Content?
Yes, I understand. Maybe if
yes,
I try.
with the sound imagination. Fill it up. Yeah.
Still, I prevent myself. I feel like holding.
Yeah, you will have resistance of the habit. Exactly.
Double
so the same
swing.
here with double swing. On the first, on the exit of the first U in your double U, again you open your hand. And you have to really intonate with arm weight to feel it comfortable.
And I feel like I don't hit from the bottom. Well, I intonate with the arm weight. My finger is on the top, but when I go, I feel like a little slow approaching the next note with resistance.
Yeah, and this is good. That will resistance that comes from your intonation with arm weight together with imagining sound texture, that will prevent your hand from attacking like that, which creates harsh sound. So it will just create this natural kind of pillow. But what I wanted to say, when you play your first note, you have to keep your hand close. When you played, it was more already kind of like already open. And so again, you need to take away first to give more. So you have to close your hand. You see it's closed, and only then you will have room to open it.
Yeah.
So this is how you play double rolls and swing, and how you open your hand versus just lifting your finger, which is better. And another thing that really helps is what?
Did we mention this already?
Nope.
Maybe.
Count.
Ah,
Rhythm on
yes.
it. It's very helpful for knowing where exactly you're actually opening your hand. So on numbers, on 1, 2, 3, you play the note. On end, you open your hand. So with double roll, 1 and 2. With double swing, 1 and 2. Again, all of this has to be done only in a very slow tempo, meaning 1 note a second. As long as you're going in a faster tempo, you don't have to lift your fingers anymore. You can simply, and you also don't have to play double roll. You can simply play or on one stroke. But if you do that in slow tempo, this will create harshness in your muscle sensations and in your tone. So let's try to count.
Okay. 1, 1 and 2. 1 and 2.
All right, so count in your mind now, but don't forget to open fully your hand on end. You open too late?
Late,
On the third?
yes.
And you need to open also in a very actually fast way. And like the fan. You know those fans in Spain? You open. Exactly. Exactly.
Yes, I do this a little unnatural because I try to do simply this without imagination, but this fan, this
fast opening,
it introduces us to this space of forte.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow, it's like занавес открывается.
Yeah.
Stage, I don't know how to say занавес по-английски, okay.
Exactly, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. The curtain is lifted.
Curtain, yes, штора.
Yeah, that's better. Let's try double swing the same way. Count and open quickly.
I feel like my muscles not so strong in my palm, and I feel like they...
This is so good what you notice, because in my book 4, when I'm talking about the warm-up exercises, the best warm-up and strengthening muscle exercises for your fingers, it's basically playing scales or arpeggios or octave slowly on forte. So when you're gonna play this is me before my performance. This is the way I warm up. So I go. It's probably too loud for my microphone. I'm putting it like on the middle of volume, right? Because I'm afraid of this distortion of the sound, but it's very loud. Or if I go faster, I skip double roll. I just go with one roll. With octaves. The same with chords. So these movements of opening your hand in a very quick but powerful way, This is what extremely helpful is in the essence. This is the most productive way to warm up your muscle and strengthen your muscle. I just spent 20 minutes playing this way through all the scales, and I am so ready for my performance. It's amazing. It's super boring. At some point I just started reading while doing something, while still imagining. I'm not doing it just mechanically. I'm still imagining the sound, but at some point you're just like, oh my god, this is so boring.
So you are able to read and even imagine.
Yes, because you know your body is amazing. It can do so many things eventually at the same time. So I'm still practicing mindfully, but I'm also doing something else. And because it's so boring, but I was trying to say I'm doing this for 20 minutes because it's so worth it. You really start feeling muscles here or ligaments. I don't know what is strained here. Joints, ligaments, or fingers that you never knew you had. And this is what you actually started feeling now. It's like, wait, it's so weak. I never had to use them before.
Yes, this new sensation that I can move out from the palm.
And actually, going to a little bit forward, we are going to explore articulations after voicing to finish book 2, where we will talk about how to play staccato. And so another way to greatly improve the sensations, the strength of your muscles in your palm, is to play a slow forte staccato. And so it's the same principle. You lift your finger, but it does not damage anything here. You know, like sometimes we want to play staccato and forte, and we feel tension here. Nothing like this, because we're making rolls and because we're playing with arm weight. This is an amazing exercise. 10 out of 10. Alright? Just to excite you a little bit more about this bit maybe boring stuff that we're doing now. It's really actually cool. Alright. So I like the way you played forte. I like the way you imagined forte. Very good. What else is worth to mention here? To play with relaxed hands. It's a very actually important. As soon as you reach the note on forte, you actually let go of any tension in the hand. Because if you're gonna carry it, I'm pressing the key, then you will not have space to again accumulate new energy. Like I said, you need to back off here. So the process is like you accumulate energy here, and right away you relax your hand. And again, new journey, and you relax your hand. So it's basically
circulation of energy in the
exactly. Hand. It's a breathing of energy. Relax, 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 relax. Versus not relaxing. And that's it. I'm suffocating. I cannot breathe anymore. There's no energy anymore.
Even it's painful to look at it.
Yeah, you would know. Right, so this is all important things. I think we mentioned everything. And your homework will be dynamics playing exercises. And you are, I know in the book I only suggest pianissimo and fortissimo. But for you, as a very talented and musical student who has lots of time to practice, I would like you to explore all these exercises in pianissimo, piano mezzo, forte, forte, fortissimo.
So determine all the stages.
Exactly. Find in your mind, discover in your mind all 6 levels of different volume in your sound imagination, as well as touches, because obviously when you're gonna play pianissimo, So, for example, I'm going to go through all 6 stages. Wait. Something like that.
Very. I had a very lucid experience, like volume up. But at some point, I feel, wow, it's already forte. But then you did even more and even more.
Yes, and like I said, unfortunately, my volume here is on the middle. That will be the loudest one, but that will distort microphone. But it doesn't matter because you felt it through my energy. You felt through my energy, and you felt it visually through your eyes that the level of the volume was rising. And you see, I started lifting my finger at about forte fortissimo level. Yeah.
And my eyes become bigger and bigger.
Well done. Yeah.